What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about the PlayStation 5, because this week there have been a series of high-profile leaks that have come out, seemingly confirming more details about the controller and what it looks like, the release date, and most importantly, it sounds like the console itself is going to cost $500, which is what I really want to talk about today. Let's get into those other two details real quickly here at the start, because I know a lot of people have been asking me about it. The controller is pretty simple. It honestly just looks basically like a DualShock 4, but a little bit more smoothed out. This is obviously what the DualShock 4 looks like. It is already an ultra sleek design that's trying to be very refined, but still just obviously another iteration of the classic PlayStation style. This newest one though, there are a couple subtle changes, extra little holes and doodads that we don't fully know yet. These are from Sony patents. This is definitely what the PlayStation 5 controller is going to look like. How it's going to work though, that's always a different story. Looking at a picture or a CGI mock-up of what a controller is can't always explain how good the springs feel or if the controller's triggers actually feel good when they click. But I want to say that to me is great. I'm freaking fine with the controllers being whatever they are. To me, the key aspect is when the system itself releases, and additionally, that price. If your system costs too much, you're gonna die day one. We've actually seen this in the past. There have been some consoles that maybe you haven't even heard of that came out, were way too expensive and completely bombed. Like, what about the PSErebus? This was like an $800 console, and where is it today? Absolutely nowhere. Even finding one now is incredibly difficult because a big price tag can turn off a huge part of your fan base. You gotta realize, most people are pretty broke, myself included. For years and years, I lived on $1,000 a month. I was earning $1,000 a month to pay all my bills, to eat, and hopefully buy some video games. If back then somebody had told me, alright, it's time to buy a $500 console, I literally could not have done it. What am I going to do? Am I going to stop taking the bus to work? Am I going to just stop eating and become even more of a skeleton to try and afford this giant hunk of plastic? $500 is affordable to a certain class, but I think that this is a steep price tag because I think that it's catering to a very high demographic, that I think that you're kind of just neglecting the fact that most gamers, we appreciate a good deal. Being able to buy games on sale or just get some nice trading credits or whatever is almost part of the gaming experience at this point. It's fun to play great games, but we also get a certain amount of enjoyment out of getting the best deal possible, right? I mean, look at all the viral videos that are called like Black Friday deals. And yes, I'm saying that RGT85 just made one. But my thing is that everybody likes to try and save a buck. A $500 console is going to turn off a lot of people. It needs a price drop. Now, this is all still just speculation for the most part. The Twitter account that leaked this has a very good track record of leaking some very deep internal details from Sony. They've actually talked about a lot of different games way before anybody else knew about it. So it's definitely accurate. But there is a small chance that at the last minute, Sony may cut the price. You gotta realize a lot of this stuff is still meant to be as cheap as possible, but additionally, it's trying to minimize loss for Sony itself. So basically, whenever a console is actually being released, typically the console makers are losing at least a couple bucks. Like back in the day when they were making the PlayStation 3, for every PlayStation 3 that was made, boxed, shipped, and sold, they lost $10. But they'd make this up, of course, by selling video games and licensing stuff. It's one of those things where you're basically trying to make it where you're losing the smallest amount to get a customer for years and years and years that only purchase your product. It makes sense, right? It's the drug dealer ethos. The first taste is cheap or whatever. My thing here is that $500, how are you really trying to minimize this? That is a very big chunk. And I do think that there's going to be a lot of people who absolutely are going to balk at it. So I've been looking around online today, and there's been this separate crowd that I never really thought of, which is there are a bunch of people that are just positively in love with their PlayStation 4. They play it every day. They wake up and jump onto Call of Duty and do a 15th playthrough of God of War on the hardest difficulty. They love it, they play it, they live it. But here's the thing, those people are still completely happy with their product, and a lot of them are saying something that I have not really heard before, which is they're saying the PlayStation 4 has a lot of life left. We don't want the PlayStation 5. Now, to me, this is also a little bit stunning to hear because I am personally ready for the next generation. I am curious to see what's coming next, what everything's going to look like and play like. And we have to kind of acknowledge that there is going to be a certain demographic that does not carry over. There are people that just have so many hundreds of PlayStation 4 games that they may not have even gotten a chance to play yet. They're not going to be coming over to the PlayStation 5 until it costs $300 and they can get it for a big Black Friday deal. Now let's talk about the hardest part of this. Why the hell does it cost $500? What is it inside this technology that makes it so overwhelmingly expensive? We haven't seen the graphics, we haven't seen the games. It's a little bit hard to even try and hazard a guess as to why this is just such a big freaking number, but I think it really comes down to the fact that they have confirmed that this is going to have a solid state hard drive. This is a small thing that will have a giant impact. Being able to have games with practically no load times is going to completely change game development. It's definitely the thing that's going to have the biggest reverberations. I've talked about that in the past. But here's the thing, solid state hard drive technology is expensive. It is one of those things that it costs more because it works better. Is this going to have 250 gigs inside of it? Is it going to have 500 gigs? Or is this going to be a 1 terabyte machine? I'm hoping, and this is just purely my own speculation here, this $500 model that's being talked about may just be a higher tier. Maybe at launch they'll sell different packages, different bundles that cost more for more storage space. My thing is that lower is definitely better. The number 2 things that you absolutely need to have day one for your console to be a giant success, and this has been proven again and again and again, is an affordable price and addictive launch games. If you have both, you are going to be instantly printing money. But this is still just kind of one of those things that gets me a little bit nervous. Hopefully we see some PlayStation 5 games soon that make us realize why $500 makes sense, but right now I'm hoping that they can get it down at least $100. $3.99 looks a hell of a lot better on the store shelf than $4.99. This is just my thoughts though. What do you think? Are you willing to pay $500 for a PlayStation 5, or does that seem like a really big digit to you as well? I have to buy it. Obviously, I play games, I do reviews and stuff. I have to buy the console, so I'm going to save up and do it, but that is a big chunk of change that I wish would go a little bit south. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Right after I shut off this camera, I'm filming a separate video about Shenmue 3's ending that's going to be full of spoilers. So watch that if you're into Shenmue and if you finished it or you don't mind spoilers, because we got to talk about that ending. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.